Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm gonna try to just let it flow out. That's the best thing we can do is to let it flow, to build, to think are very different things. You can think and you can either build. And in the state of our current world with technology, social media, electric communication, there appears to be a gaze from the audience, from the other, that shapes us more than um, that shapes us from this point of being watched at all times, being observed, being judged, being critiqued, being measured, being in a sense being sort of put in a box, if you will. I'm tired of acknowledging this, or I'm tired of not acknowledging the effect of this, of what I just described, what it does to people, what it does to your life, what it does to your expression, what it does to everything. It feels like there's just some disregard, like we can't do anything about it, like we're powerless on a local level. And if anything, our power comes from our ability to act locally, to act within our own lives. These new forms of media, electronic media, have really exaggerated our most deepest fears of our, I guess, projected inadequacy. These screens have also conditioned us to watch what we want to do, then to like give ourselves access to like doing certain things. That sucks. Anyway, more people watch what they want to do. They listen to people who are talking about certain things more than they are acting upon it themselves. We are constantly fixated on global sort of problems that have no direct impact on us. And these global problems are turned into like weapons of control for your mind, buzzwords to get you heated up and cooked in the proper way. You can either choose to conform and be silent and to live within the means of the culture and perform this sort of pseudo act of virtue signaling and appearing to cater towards this multi-cultural world where we can all live harmoniously. I think the world is a very it's a very it's a very live living thing, a living entity. It's shifting, it's changing. Narratives change always, and nothing is sort of fixed anymore. And the people who have established control in the past are now feeling the consequences of their unconscious actions. And they're not going to go peacefully. And I'm not talking about higher ups or anything like that. I'm talking about everyday people of all sorts. Their behavior is not justified anymore, but yet they hold on and cling to the familiar. We're in this sort of middle ground of change, of cultural change, of power. The narrative, the word, the myth is changing. The Jesus lovers are quickly learning that they were in some cave, Plato's cave. The materialist can still order and summon anything to themselves at their door. We have almost magical technology to give us everything we want. And yet it's not enough. The problem is that the dialogue is changing. And we can't really explain or sit down long enough to really get anywhere with people. And I don't always want to talk about the easiness, the everydayness of our existence. I don't give a shit about your money or your job or whatever, your car. We all have to work jobs to get money. It doesn't really matter how it gets there. We all have to stay afloat. And if you have to justify it to someone, then you're in their control. If you can't state yourself and express yourself in its most authentic form, you fear your own imagination. I was I was in a conversation with people, and to dumb it down, basically it was, people reaching out and recognizing that I am someone who has gone through these sorts of thoughts before that they were going through. Not necessarily the hard times that they're going through, but the thoughts of chasing the dream, chasing the dream that exists in all of us, the things that transcend our time beyond thought. And I think they recognized that I've I've not achieved, a blissful state, but um, I'm at least willing to describe what's working for me and what's not, and the thoughts and the tools that have been useful for me. And I notice this is definitely a stereotype of people, but I notice that these people, they want you to hand it to them. They want you to hand them some secret code to perfect and master the skills and talent. Um, and all I could really do was give these people the I could show them the reins. I could show them how I like to drive. You can't drive for people. You can't walk and take their steps for them. You can show them your own, you can talk about it, but it takes them to truly do something for themselves. I feel as if I'm surrounded by a lot of those people. Excuse me. A lot of people who can't make decisions for themselves. And I don't know if I'll ever change my behavior in this, but I'm really tired of trying to plan something, and I give them sort of my schedule, my ability, to be free and to hang out and whatnot. And then they sort of, in their indecisiveness, turn it back towards me to make the decision. In the same way, I rarely find people who fuel conversations. I end up having to be the one to fuel every conversation because I don't want to exist in these conversations. Or let me start over. People want to hear validation for their hard times. They want you to tell them that these hard times will be over, and God is with me, or there's a sense of there's a sense of right and wrong in the way they feel, and they want you to sort of soak in those emotions. You can't allow yourself to get devoured by these negative emotions. You can't allow yourself to you can't allow yourself to search for validation in the negative. You can't even allow yourself to search for this validation in the positive. It's so it's so paradoxical. You can't create your own thing if you're focused on creating for. No, let me try to get through that again. You can't create your own thing if you're trying to constantly piggyback with others or off of others. You'll never feel whole until you do it yourself and feel satisfied. People want this validation, and I'm unwilling to give it to them. If it isn't stemming from a place of self-expression that is completely novel to the moment, where you're not just redistributing ideas and creative acts, and not necessarily claiming them as your own, but you're not doing anything different. You're just blending in. And people, think about, I started this talking about the gaze of the audience, right? People live for the audience. They live to be seen. They live for the possibility of getting rich and famous. And there's another dynamic to cameras nowadays, and just reality itself is you're not necessarily always just being recorded or being watched or have the potential of being watched. You have the potential to fall subject, to fall victim to content creation, to social media, which is a whole other aspect of recording and sort of existing in the world with cameras. The world is simultaneously becoming the movie camera and the movie. You're the audience and the creator at the same time. The movie and the camera is happening at the same time. It's not necessarily performative, but in the eyes of the viewer of social media, everything is performative. Most people can't take their eyes off, or most people can't put on another lens. Let's just say that. Most people are unwilling to go into the void of information and to come out on the other side. Ah, there it is. These glasses are fucking dope. I can't lie to you. I'm just wearing them because self-expression. I'm curious to see if people will ever get a hold of their primal urges, their natural instincts, become conscious of them first of all, but to get a hold of them and to realize, not even to get a hold of them, to just be aware of them and to realize that if they could, like, is it worth, excuse me, is it worth, um, how do I say this? I have it, the idea in my mind, but I'll put on the glasses for inspiration. Is it worth our time to just, chase this, this one aspect of life, of family, of reproduction, of, carrying the torch and passing it on to the next generation? Is that what we should be aiming at, right? Or should we be aiming towards a more dedicated existence towards not necessarily the revolution, but to the fabric of our integral existence? Because everyone is currently in a very survival state of defending their own contentment, and they're defending their ideology, allowing nothing to sort of disturb it, to exist within the constraints of it, to only seek validation. Once that validation is gone, they seek it from somewhere else. They seek it from people who are willing and are seeking themselves just for attention. How dangerous is a person who seeks no audience? We're in a very weird time, people. And it's only going to get weirder. Carry on.